Hi, friends, and welcome to today's episode of Here and Now. It's Fabian, or you could call me The Branch. Well, I know we've been off your faces a while, but it's always a good thing to be up, and to be able to share knowledge with you, to share our Father's mind. Today's episode is not going to be a very regular one. It's unscripted, but I'm compelled to share this with you. And albeit I prepared something different and thought, okay, I was going to do this, but I just found it kept coming back, and it meant God wanted it out, and God gives His word in and out of every season. To help us with direction, because it's not the author of confusion, and it's not no other than the place of prayer, and the need for prayer. I know some persons who would know me would say, "Oh, he's back at it again. Why is he always emphasizing prayer?" It's because in the coming days, more so for those of us who the end of ages come upon, not like the end is now, but we know we're tended to those times. And it's not enough to protest, it's what we're doing about it. We've seen issues happen in the past, and it was just protest and protest, and in the end many were forced into compliance because there was no readiness, there was no arrangement made. So why is the Lord laid? Why is He asking men or urging men back to the place of prayer? And for those who's caused to come into the threshing place or the threshing floor, how well have we submitted ourselves, or are we seeking alignment to the process? Are we running off hastily? And I make bold to say, because I know what it takes, or should I say I have an idea. I'm privileged to have experienced it, and it's not fun when God hides you. And I've had to share with friends to say, oftentimes they say, "Hide me, Lord, keep me as the apple of your eye," like David said in one of his psalms. But you see, the place of the hidden, or the hidden place, or where God hides you, it's not often a place of fun. It's not what you want. I do poetry. In one of my works, I've written about God obscurantis, hiding one, means you're taking out of visibility. But at that time, if you submit to process, and God's process as I speak, which it's a mix, you have some is pleasant, some is what you want, and some of them are things you have never anticipated. And recently I was speaking to someone, and I said emptiness. This is where I had to look for a definition of it, and I said emptiness, for my own summation, is a feeling, or one's feeling, of incapacity or incompetence. Yeah, that's the word. The feeling of incompetence in a field one is known to have gained mastery, and at that time it's not working. But back to it, God will have it that people would begin to pray. Those that are called by His name will begin to pray, and not just praying for your wants, because all of those things won't stand. We know that all of these things are written as an example for us who the end of age is come upon. Who the end of age is come upon. You could be saying, "Oh, why have I come at this time? Or why do I exist?" The Bible answers everything. He's not going to let us more than we can bear. It says in the midst of it, He would make an escape route. But it makes more sense when you begin to find meaning in your existence. And that is where purpose is birthed. For those who have not found meaning, for those who just live every day pursuing, dreams. I want to ask you, is your dream around your purpose? Do you know what your purpose is? And if you've not known that, please, you would need to find it in this season. You would need to burn your knees. You would need to run to the place of prayer. You would need to build a personal altar unto God. I'm not saying put images or anything. You need to have a place where you could commune, and a time you commune, and you need to build commitment to it. And at that time, God comes to fellowship with you and is able to pour his heart out into yours by his Spirit. And it comes heavy, and that's the burden, and you're able to run with it. And when you run in the strength of the Spirit. Please, I want to say, you see, the devil has come and is placating the truth with the false expression of love. Oh, why judge? I want to tell you today, there is a difference between judgment and discretion. In real sense, when the Bible speaks of judgment, not from the king, when it speaks of judgment, is the spirit of rectitude, is you being able to discern between good and evil. You see, but the devil is made it such in our time that you can't speak of it. You can't say, oh, but this is not right. This is not the will of God. Sin has become a thing of the past. It's being reduced to weakness. And the strength of the word or action or consequences are thrown to the gallery. Please, I want to say again, have an altar. Seek God in this season. Build a personal relationship. Don't go with the multitude. Don't go with the multitude. If you're a married person, be the priest of your household. If you haven't been praying, please pray. If you can't pray, get brethren to pray. But beyond all of the prayer, of what use is a prayer that is not transformative? Of what use is a prayer that does not make you into the image or the likeness of the person of Jesus? The world doesn't want to read any more Bibles. They want you to be that Bible. So in as much as you pray and seek and spend hours, let the prayer be such that forms you. Let the prayer be such that you experience a transition in character and your perspective. You're becoming more like Jesus and less of yourself. And that is where the work is. That is where it is tough. Where God wants to rid you of yourself. That you may reduce while he increases. You may vanish and become, a signage for him and to him alone. For him, to men, and for him alone. So I say to you this evening, please pray, build an altar to the Lord. Have a time with your God. Be consistent. Pray without ceasing. You're walking, you're praying. Pray in tongues, forget it. People say it's gibberish. That is what it is. It doesn't need to make sense because it is the Spirit praying through you and you declaring mysteries. If it is mystery, and that means you shouldn't understand it. But what the Bible asks us to do is to declare it. You don't need to understand it. It hasn't asked you to understand it. Declare it. And that's where your mouth is, and that's where your mouth becomes the channel. Your spirit bears it and shoots it out from your mouth. So please have an altar unto the Lord. This is the season of the making. And those who will be useful in the hand of the Master are those who have rid themselves by his Spirit. And those are the ones he would make. He will only use what he has made. If he hasn't made you, then he ain't going to use you. And if he can't use you, you're not relevant. You're just one of those vessels in a great house. But the choice to become onto a vessel of honor is yours. And I say again, build an altar unto the Lord. Have a life of prayer, that you may be able to stand what is coming shortly. God bless you. I'll see you soon again on Here and Now. Shalom.